I hear people. So, good morning everybody, my name is Osa, and this morning we are back on Lawfolds farm, Farm Sim 17. And I didn't want to do that. Press the buttons I know. Put the wheel in the driving position, let's go pick up the bales. I've just checked the bales at the BGA and they have 13-14 hours still to run. So yes, it's early morning, 7 o'clock, so we've got a ways to go yet. Should rain probably sometime this morning. I don't know exactly when, because I don't know when. The weather report told me it was going to start raining because I was sleeping.
So we have to wait on that. Mom, what we gonna sell? Mom, are we gonna sell today?
And this show is filmed before a live studio audience.
Wait, I want to show you how to make it.
Eyes are very remember this is a mommy eye, this is a baby eye.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we are over at the sheep farm. I have not checked what state the animals are in, although I think they're probably okay. Okay, pigs and cows are going to need water. Sheep will possibly need water later, but at the moment we're okay. There we go. So with the real fuel usage mod, this trailer is incredibly heavy when it's loaded with bales. And I did shut that gate. And my keyboard just froze. Oh, there we go, finally. And we'll do this from outside.
So everything when I'm home, is she gonna do it too? I do not really know how to.
And we have the added real world problems of the sun is just getting to the point where it's in my face, which is going to make this job a little bit more challenging.
Hey, I did a big one.
6.
Hey.
got? 2 more.
Little tiny line.
Minus. Okay, we're loaded. So I'm going to stage these down at the bottom of the field.
Huh? How? There's a field? Do we take it to away? Do we take 2 away? There.
Yeah. No, you can't. Sit there.
Right. No, don't turn into them.
Okay.
No, turn.
So we're going to stage them down here because I don't plan to plough this end of the field.
Now I can't see.
No, I can't see either. And I pull forwards. Be interesting to get hold of the Anderson equipment in Farm Sim 19 because the trailers don't tip upright, they tip to an angle and then the bales roll off the back. So they're stored horizontally rather than vertically.
Why they're not talking?
I'm talking.
Why they're not? Daddy, why are they not talking?
Because they don't get to talk.
Because don't want to talk.
Because them talk on typing, so I have to read what they talk. You going to say hello?
Huh? No.
Okay.
No. No.
Who-
Hey, you tickled me.
Yeah.
Tickled.
And just about to catch that one. And then once this field is all done, we will get on to
Okay. No, mommy.
ploughing the entire grass section. And the bit at the end, which I believe needs ploughed from last year. Oh, good morning, Scorch. Yeah, this is going to take a while. Apart from the ploughing, there's really not a lot of do to this on this particular day.
Holly, would you help?
The
Do you remember where my pen is?
no, the bales down at the BGA are not going to be ready for another 13-14 hours, which means 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night.
I don't want to mess up on my
24-hour math was a little bit suspect.
pencil. I need a pencil, not a pen.
But until they're finished brewing, they're not worth selling. I'm not doing it specifically for the money, I'm doing it for the digestate, but I'm not going to refuse a boatload of cash from selling silage. Okay, that's another load done. I must admit, I can't remember how many are here. It's probably about 150 or thereabouts. And we don't have enough time to do another cut on this field anyway. So ploughing it under's fine. It'll give a chance for the grass to at least start growing in fall before it dies off during winter. I'd like at least a layer of greenery on the ground rather than a layer of dirt. So, that's 2 stacks, 32. Oh.
Yeah. So on that side.
So, FS19 mods this week. This tractor by this author, designer, is now available in Farm Sim 19, but not in this sort of metallic grey silvery colour. It comes in green, white and black. Which is a shame, because I kind of like the silvery colour. And since it's a big tractor, I did start Tuesday on New Bartleshagen, which has big fields and actually justifies having this particular model of tractor. We'll drive up to the top of the field before I extend the collector. Now I think the modder is doing the 800 series as well, which is more in the sort of mid to low or mid to high 800s. Okay, you take care, Scorch. And so that lends itself more as the biggest tractor on a small farm. So when that is released, we may be using that one. Oxygen David said that Oakfield Farm's nearly ready on 19, so I may pull that in to the mix. Ah, missed. It's 5, 6. Ugh. 7. And slow down. Now the other unfortunate thing is, because this isn't a field, it's a pasture, I can't actually set a worker off ploughing this. It's all going to have to be done manually, which means I'm going to have to do it all. And I might need to buy a small plough to tidy up the edges. Or I can get the roller out and paint the ground. Two more. I'll just do this one and one of the ones over here. I have not pre-ordered Anderson DLC. Is it up on Steam yet? Last time I looked, it wasn't available on Steam, so I think you could put it on your wish list, but you couldn't actually pre-order it. But I do plan to get it. Basically because it does have some interesting equipment that does kind of fit in well. I mean, obviously, square baling is an expensive pastime. The balers are expensive, this trailer is expensive, the wrapper's expensive, and the tractor to haul it is expensive. It's a lot cheaper to do round bales. it's a lot more time consuming because you have to stop and manually unload it. But a round baler costs you less than 50,000 and a square baler costs you over 100. Similar issues with the trailers, similar issues with the wrappers. Now with the Anderson kit, you're going to be able to collect lots of round bales. I mean, I can only collect 8 with the Arcusin auto stacker. And so I would be having to drive up and down this field twice as much, so it takes twice as long. And right now on this farm, we're getting to the point where efficiency is not a luxury. Efficiency is a luxury that we can afford. When I started on this farm, I went round bales exclusively. And so, you know, I did round bales for 4 years on this farm, and all the round bales ended up all the way over there down at the bottom of the field because they rolled. And also, since I was using Follow Me, I wasn't the one who was driving around the baler and unloading it. That was a helper. I was driving the the mowing rig. But also, what I'm doing right now is bad practice. Best practice is you create the bales, the grass bales. You take the grass bales back to the main yard, and you wrap them there so that you don't tear all the wrap off. The last thing you want to be doing is using one of these, which frequently just rips up the wrapping and so destroys your bale. Now, one of the Anderson kits, it does have a special pickup on the round bale trailer which grabs the bale, much like the where is it? Let's jump over to front loaders. Front loaders, where's the front loaders? Seriously, why can't I see front loader? I'm going completely blind. There's probably one here. This thing, where you gently grab the bale round the sides. One of the Anderson trailers has an attachment similar to that to pick the bale up, and that's designed to not damage the wrap. So that's a good thing. So either you would wrap on the field, like I've done here, and use one of those which picks up the bale rather than scoops up the bale, or you should take the grass back to the yard and wrap it, which is where the Anderson extractors come in. You take a bunch of grass bales back to the yard, and then you just load them sequentially into the extractor, which wraps a whole row of round bales, or square bales, depending which one you get. But that's kind of a good deal. Am I too close? I'm too close. And good morning, Paul. How you doing? But that obviously using the extractor in the yard and the oh, I am stuck on that. That could be bad or not. It's not so bad. Oh, it is bad.
Mommy.
Very bad. Do not blow up my stack of bales. Oh. Ooh. I have to wait for the pickup to fold before I can get out of here.
Mommy, did I do good on this?
Whoa. There we go. And now we can fit through that gap. Oh, we did lose a stack. Okay. Now obviously the problem I'm playing with here is if I left the grass on the field and then collected the bales and then shipped them back to the yard and then wrapped them, most of these bales wouldn't make it to 4,000 litre bales. Mainly because playing with seasons decays the grass from the point you make the bale. You've got a little leeway and then that's it, the bale starts reducing in volume. The physical size doesn't change, but the litre capacity does, which is why I'm wrapping on the field in the same train as I'm cutting and windrowing. Now I understand that Seasons 19 may change how this works, and instead of decaying the grass will dry out and convert into hay. So tedding grass will not give you hay immediately. It takes time, but you don't have to ted grass in order to make the hay. I'm not sure how they're going to achieve that. But basically, I mean, the theory is, if you're in a hot climate, you cut the grass, you leave it to dry, and in the hot climate, that's it, you row it, you bale it, you've got hay bales. In a more moist climate like probably the UK, you cut the grass, you leave it to dry, then you flip it with a tedder and you dry the other side. And then you bale it or pick it up with a collection wagon and you have hay. So I believe that's what Seasons 19 is looking to emulate, is the whole idea of the grass drying out. So because of that, they can't really have it decay, because obviously if grass decays, how are you going to get hay with the delay in it? That one. Now if I wasn't playing with seasons, I could probably do this more realistically, bring grass, make grass bales, and then wrap them later once I've got them to where they're going.
Oh yeah, I did good.
Oh, don't drop that there. Okay, we'll pull forward a bit. Yeah, this trailer does take a lot of power. I can hardly move this tractor, and we've got 380 horsepower on this. Although the power drain doesn't look like much, so it could just be there's a limiter built into the system that prevents me from driving at 30 miles an hour while the trailer is moving in its unload mode. Once it's positioned, I can drive normal speeds. But while it's tipping and coming back down again, that's, my speed's limited to about 1 or 2 miles an hour, even with the amount of horsepower this tractor has.
I was about to say. Stay away.
It's a fun map. It takes a bit to get used to. There's not a lot of road network. You start with a lot of equipment. Somewhere in the region of 3, maybe 4 tractors. You've got sugar beet harvesting equipment. You've got a regular harvester, which I believe comes with both standard and corn header. And you start with 10 fields, including this one, which isn't technically a field, it's a pasture, because I can't fertilise this field. And what I'm pulling off here is grass grown to 100%, no bonuses applied. and we've still got about 150 bales off it. The other fields are all pretty much regular agricultural fields. The fields are larger than normal, however they all have this field and hedging around it, so it's not easy to manipulate your way around some of the fields. My particular choice when I started this map was I pretty much sold all of the starting equipment, including the harvester. And since I'm playing with seasons, there was no harvest for, what would it be, 12 days of play. I'm playing a 6-day season, so 6 days for winter, 6 days for spring, 6 for summer, etc, etc. And that's the last one.
I didn't care if you were on this, but don't.
So I got rid of the harvester. I bought a big tractor. Not this particular one. This is the second one I have on the farm. Class Axion 940. I bought one in the traditional class green, and I've had that tractor since the beginning of this playthrough. Not that the playthrough has been published to the web at all, because it was originally my solo play farm and my PC wasn't capable of streaming or recording at the time. I've since upgraded back in September. So if we jump to the map, the main starting farm is here in the middle. The store is here, and to get to the store you have to drive out to the road network and then north and then across to here. So it's quite a drive to the store. You start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These 10 fields, which are all accessible from the central yard, or this lane here. This is where the sheep farm is, which provides you with more storage. This is where the cow farm is, which provides you with more storage. And since I've started, I expanded my equipment to the point where I've got what I needed, and then started purchasing these fields over here and these two here. And the way I do that, oops, still unloading, is to do contracts to plough, plant, fertilise. So I end up buying a field that is planted with something, has the plough bonus, has a full fertilisation bonus. I got paid for doing that, and I buy the field and harvest it and keep the profits.
That one is not mine.
So playing with seasons, I'm obviously, this is early fall, and I'm now looking at what fields do I want to buy next year, because I'm going to want to plough those and get paid to do it. And then we'll plant them with whatever the farmer wants to plant them with, which for 2 of the fields I've bought has been beets. So I do have, do I have a full-scale beet harvester? I think I just have the tractor-hauled beet harvester. I figure it's sufficient because I'm not specifically doing beet work. I'm just buying fields that have beets in them. I'm not buying fields with potatoes, so if a farmer has me plant potatoes, okay, fine, but I probably won't then fertilise that field, because I'm not planning to buy it at the end of the year. Now, corn is a very rare crop in Scotland and generally used for animal feed only, or specifically used for animal feed only. So I use a forage harvester on corn. I don't plant sunflowers. You don't really have enough sunlight during the year to grow the sunflowers. I is I plant a little bit of soybeans every year. Predominant crop will be barley because Scotch distilleries need supplies.
Yeah.
Then listen. You must put them all back in here when you're done.
So that's pretty much prototypically what happens. I started off with sheep at the end of the first year. Sheep are the most common agricultural animal, followed by cows, and I bought pigs last beginning of this year because I still need to complete, or I needed at the time to complete the breeding achievement for pigs and the breeding achievement for cows. We've done the pig one in 1 year. Cows we're still working on, and that's going to be a while before we get them complete. Okay, I'll pull this forward to about here. Oh, be careful. Let's back up so we don't disturb that row. And the added problem I've had here with this farm this particular year is where is it? It's forecast. You will see that it's fall, and today is day 2. It's supposed to rain today. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. It's supposed to rain on day 4 and 5. So Thursday, which is day 6 of fall and the last day of fall, is overcast. So I'm having to hope that the the crop dries out sufficiently so that I have to so I am able to harvest the 4 fields I haven't yet. All of the grain that ripened at the end of summer. Actually, day 5 of summer, day 6 of summer was rain again, and so I was planning to spend sort of 2-3 days harvesting the grains, barley, wheat and canola. Unfortunately, I looked at the weather report sort of halfway through the first day as I was leisurely working my way around the fields harvesting, and realised, oh, I need to get this done by the end of today because it's going to rain for the rest of the harvest season. And that came as a little bit of a surprise and ended up causing me to buy this tractor because I did not have enough heavy tractors to get all the preparatory work done in time for, when the rains came. Okay, that's 10. I'll get the others that are close by these stacks. But usually when I play a farm, I will look at where the farm is supposed to be based. So, Central Europe, UK, obviously in this case Scotland, which is slightly different crops to Southern England. Southern England, you're more likely to find cows, less likely to find sheep. Wales, you're probably more likely to find sheep than cows because sheep do better on mountainous terrain than cows do. And then you're pretty much looking at the local crop to see, what do you plant, what don't you plant. Obviously, sugar beets and potatoes are options, especially in wet weather because you can harvest when the crop is wet. I tend to avoid doing beets and potatoes because they're very labour intensive, and this is a single player farm, so I have to do it all. I run the Follow Me mod and GPS. I don't use Courseplay, but with Follow Me and GPS it's sufficient for me to be able to at least get some reasonable help harvesting and planting and what have you. And the fields, some of the fields are square, so helpers work on those, and the fields that aren't particularly square, I can finish them off once the helpers says they're done. The map is not very flat, as you can see. It's very undulating terrain, and the downside of that, I'm playing with the real fuel usage mod, so it reflects. You'll see it on the fuel bar to the bottom right side of the screen. Let's see if I can get that. No. Let's turn. I can't get the mouse turned on. Why can't I get the mouse turned on? There we go. So over here, this is telling me I've got 341 litres in the tank, and I'm using 7.3 litres an hour just sitting here with the engine running. As I start moving, that will adjust per the power that I'm drawing from the engine. You'll also see round here there's a little power generation meter, if you like, that tells me how much drain I'm putting on the engine. Turn GPS off. So to get a tractor started, there's obviously a big spike in power draw. Also, operating equipment puts a drain on it, and driving up a hill puts a drain on it. So when the equipment says, 200 horsepower, you're generally looking on a flat map for about 240 horsepower, so that you've got the horsepower to operate the equipment, 200, plus enough horsepower to get the tractor moving. On this map, I have to go one step higher and probably go up 250, 260 horsepower, because I've got to overcome gravity up and down the hills here. And there's some times where I will drive up a field with equipment off, turn it around and go downhill, because that's an assist in getting the equipment moving. Now, Farm Sim 19 seems to have included at least some semblance of the real fuel usage mod. And I have tried to do various jobs around Ravenport, I think it was, where I just did not have the power for my tractor to haul my piece of equipment. However, if I drove to the top of the field, dropped the cultivator and then drove down the field, I could cultivate with a lower power tractor. Not to be advised in the real world, because you break stuff. Now, I don't know the full ins and outs of how GPS works on 17, but I've learned enough to at least have it functional. I can basically use it to do field work. I did try Courseplay at one point, but it's really not friendly for British maps and some Central European maps, because the roads and villages are too tight. And while Courseplay is okay, it's not 100% accurate. You drive a course and Courseplay will say, yeah, okay, I'll follow that course, but it's kind of an approximation, and if it takes a corner too fast, or it does it in a different tractor with a different turn radius, you can end up crashing into buildings, crashing into walls, crashing into trees, getting stuck in ditches, and I just found it was a pain on the map I tried to learn it on, and decided, yeah, it doesn't work on this map, and I never got back into using it on any of my maps. Typically I play English maps or Central European maps, and as a streamer now, that's this is sort of outside my usual recommendation for a stream. However, I've made allowances because I played the map for about 400 hours before I started streaming it. So I had lots of big equipment. I had lots of fields. It was an established farm, so there's always something that I've got to be doing. Because of the weather that's coming up, I've actually worked really hard, so I don't have an awful lot of jobs over the next couple of days. But there's usually something that needs to be done. And some years I've just chopped down entire forests. A, to make money, and B, to have something to do. But typically for a stream you want to be able to do lots of different things, and I think, you know, watching Daggerwin, he's also, you know, having issues with things like Marwell Manor. While it's a fairly small map, it does have very big fields. So it takes you 6 hours to plough a field, or 3 hours to harvest a field. And if your stream's 30 minutes, then you do half the job. And then you have to figure out, okay, I'm going to finish off the rest of the job tomorrow, or I'm going to... what am I doing? I'm going to do it in a stream, or do it offline. With maps with the smaller fields, like Maypole Farm, like what's the other one I started yesterday? Mercury Farm. I mean, Mercury Farm, over the course of a couple of hours, I harvested 5 different fields, set up the farm, and so you're not stuck on one field for the entire session. Okay, let's count this. How many did we get? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 6 nines are 54, so that's 144. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 3. 147, 157. So 157 bales there. And because we're playing seasons with 2 days, 6 days a season, 1/3 of a season is 2 days. So those bales will not be ready for another 48 hours. Actually less than 48 hours, because I completed baling last night. Hey Spunky boy, how you doing? So by the looks of it, we've managed to collect all the bales. So we will take this trailer back and get the plough. And using seasons, I will plant oilseed radish during the fall, so that I get a level of fertilisation. Typically, if I'm not playing with seasons, I won't bother with oilseed radish, because oilseed radish grows slower than all the rest of the crops, and take time out from you making a quicker turnover. So what do we got? What are your thoughts on Mercury as selling water? I haven't got into selling water, I must admit. No, this is a single player farm. I don't have it set up for multiplayer. I also have a lot of mods running, some of which aren't multiplayer friendly. So sadly this is not a farm I can have other people playing on. It's, you know, personally I would kind of like to have it as a multiplayer farm, basically because it is a lot of work for one person. I have now about 8 tractors, or at least 8 pieces of powered machinery. So that's done, we're done with that one. I'm going to put this on the seeder because we will need that later.
And then I tell on the back too.
And then we will get out of that one, and still not any significant clouds in the sky, so we can get to ploughing. This is not going to be a fun task. Anyway, field 38 condition is harvested, does not need ploughing, so I can just plough from this edge outwards, which is what we'll do. Get in the tractor.